What's going on, everybody? This is MDENT313, and I'm back at y'all with another one. Man, boxing is getting better and better, guys. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited. We have Tyzyu coming back against my Michigan native, Joey Spencer. And let me tell you something. I'm excited to see it. Joey Spencer, we all know what Tyzyu, what he brings to the table, and he's a phenomenal fighter. Unfortunately, he had a bad luck situation with Sebastian Fundora with the cut over his eye. He was winning that fight clearly. Didn't seem to be struggling with Fundora at all, outboxing him thoroughly. Then he got that cut over his eye, and Fundora was smart enough to use his length, use his reach. Tyzyu couldn't see, and he just peppered him with the jab. Every once in a while he'd come with a 1-2, but he just kept him at bay with the jab. When he had to deal with him on the inside, he just tied him up. He didn't really give him a lot of inside work. And then he just, he gauged distance very well, timed him coming in. Tyzyu still fought like a warrior. I didn't think he did bad, but you can clearly see that the eye was bothering him, blood was in his eye, he couldn't see, and he was just catching him. Then he come back against Bataliev and just fight the wrong fight and got absolutely demolished by Martez Bataliev. I'm sorry if I can't pronounce his first name, but he looked like a monster at 154. So Joey Spencer is coming off of 2 losses. He need this win bad. And if he win this fight, it'll set up the fight he was originally supposed to take before Sebastian Fundora, which is the Keith Thurman fight, right? But I'm going to talk a little bit about Joey Spencer. This is a guy, roughly maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, I was extremely excited about. He looked good in the amateurs, man. He had a very, very good amateur career. He came into the pros. PBC was bringing him along nicely. He was doing well, Once he started to step up in competition, you could see that the amateur style just wasn't quite translating over to the pros, right? He started to struggle a lot. With guys that was more athletic than him, he was always having a problem with. And guys that had a higher or good boxing IQ, didn't help the matter none. Then he go against Brian Mendoza and just get punished, guys. And I forgot the guy who, he was a much bigger guy. Damn, I can't think of who it was. But he ended up stopping Joey Spencer, right? And it was hard for me to watch, man. I was really rooting for Joey Spencer. I'm still rooting for Joey Spencer. He has a good skill set, He's kind of, I don't want to say he's too small for 54, but he's kind of like a tweener, right? He's too big for 47, but he's a lot smaller than a lot of these guys at 54. And he just don't have, I believe he got the IQ, but he just don't have the athleticism and the punching power to really keep those bigger, stronger, athletic guys at bay. He's an average at best 154 pounder, but I like Joey Spencer, man. I'm not one of those guys who write you off after a loss or two or whatever. I do believe that Joey Spencer has a lot to offer. He's still relatively young. He didn't take a whole lot of damage. Depending on his game plan, I do think he could beat Tyzyu. I don't think he will, but he has the ability to beat Tyzyu. Tyzyu is not a menacing power puncher. He's not extremely athletic, but he is solid. He's very, very skilled, very fundamentally sound. His father was a phenomenal fighter. He's very well coached. But you can get, what I notice about Tyzyu, you can get him out of his, his element, if you will. If I'm Joey Spencer, I'm trying to talk a lot of trash to Tyzyu. I'm trying to get him into a firefight. I'm trying to get him into a space to where he's not thinking, and I'm going to try to walk him into some punches. I'm going to try to set a lot of traps, counter him, work up and down, head, body, head. I'm going to mostly focus on the body. Joey Spencer is a very underrated body puncher. He's a solid inside fighter. I think he does a little bit better mid-range to outside, but he's solid, you know, across the board, but he's not great at one thing, you know. Tim Tszyu to me is a much better version of Joey Spencer. Um, Here's the thing. I think Joey Spencer's best shot is to try to get Tim Tszyu off his game, you know, during the build up to the fight, talking a lot of trash, getting him out of his element. He's gonna have to hit Tim Tszyu, you know, with some stuff he don't see coming. Now, also, we have to factor in the same way we got to factor in with Devin Haney after that punishment he took. We have to the same way we got to factor in how Errol Spence is going to come back after the punishment he took. I was naive thinking that Wilder would come back to be the same after the punishment he took in that second Fury fight. Even though he fought a phenomenal third fight against Fury, you know, he quite wasn't the same. You know, those are my three favorite fighters: Errol Spence, Deontay Wilder, and Devin Haney. You know, when you take punishment the way Tim Tszyu took punishment in that Battaglia fight, you may not be the same physically, and you definitely won't be the same mentally. I don't care who you are. That don't mean that you can't have a good career. That don't mean that you can't come back and, you know, be a world champion. But physically, you will have to fight different. You're going to have to be a much more defensively sound fighter. You're going to have to try to turn into a sniper, because you can't afford to take that much more damage throughout your career when you take a punishment. Like, it was times in that fight where you can clearly see Tim Tszyu corner should have stopped that fight. He was out on his feet a few times in that fight. He was knocked down multiple times, like 3 or 4 times. Got back up, showed tremendous heart, but he took some nasty, nasty punches. You know, and that's one of the things, you know, I wouldn't want to be a coach, because I wouldn't want to see my son take that kind of punishment. I would have to throw in the towel ASAP Rocky. But in a lot of fighters, you know, they don't want their fathers to do that. They want their fathers to let them go out on their shield. As you can see with Sean Porter, he was very upset with Kenny Porter for throwing in the towel against Terrence Crawford. You know, and I was mad because I felt like Sean Porter was doing great in the fight till those knockdowns happened. But, you know, sometimes you got to save the fighter from himself. And that was the case with Tim Tszyu that night. He took a lot of punishment. But I do believe of Tim Tszyu, I say it all the time when I talk about these other fighters, Tim Tszyu is no different. If he's 70 to 80% of what he was, he will beat Joey Spencer. But this pick for me is more of a heart over head pick. So I may get this wrong. You know, you laugh at me if you want to. But I'm a homer. I'm going to roll with Joey Spencer in this one. I think Joey Spencer will win a close decision, 7-5. At least I'm hoping he win a close decision. That's what I believe. But I will admit, if Tim Tszyu is 70% of what he was, he may possibly knock out Joey Spencer. Tim Tszyu is a phenomenal fighter. You know, let me know what you think in the comment section. I, for one, I will be tuned in to this fight. I'm interested to see what happened. Man, good job. I want to thank everybody that put this fight together. Turkey Al-Sheikh is phenomenal. He's doing a great job in boxing, man. If you're not into boxing, or you haven't been into boxing, I encourage you to get into boxing. It's finna get interesting. It's been slow, you know, the last year and a half, but it's about to get good. Let me know what you think in the comment section, guys. Like, share, and subscribe.